Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. It's another Saturday morning with Jeff Nadeau. We're here at Pub Sports Radio where we will go over the... wait. Hey, can you turn that off? Hey, sorry, I got shit in here. Can you turn that off? Oh my God, unbelievable. We're here at Pub Sports Radio. Sorry, we got... This is just ridiculous. We're going to go over the college football card, and we're going to go over 10 games in depth, and we're going to go over the whole card with Jeff Nadeau, with the comment section and everything. We're going to break down lieu of the Louisville Notre Dame game. We're going to break down the Texas game. We're going to break it all down. Very interesting card today. A bunch of modest home underdogs that I'm thinking might have some value, might not. We're going to get into it with the comment section. I'm looking forward to it. Jeff Nadeau, how are you feeling about today's card?
I'm doing good, Peter. I'm looking forward to
jumping in. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Talk with Jose Bouquet, okay?
Hold on. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to the card, obviously. We got a lot of good games. What's going on with Peter? Is he all right?
Who knows? Pete's about to, we hypothesize that he has like a lion of some sorts in his apartment, and he has to battle that lion sometimes for supremacy of his apartment. And, maybe that lion ends up being a cougar. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, there's something going on over there, but hopefully he's all right. But we got a lot of good games today, including Louisville, Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, Missouri. A lot of games, a lot of things to get into. Plus, UTSA is back.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, I'm wearing my UTSA shirt right now. You guys.
Who are they playing?
We're playing Temple, first AAC game.
How could I forget?
Oh, come on, and put some respect on our name. And you guys put Ball State on the card, too. You guys were thinking about me this weekend. And guess what? Loshak's back, so I'm glad he's alive again.
All right, no, it's okay. It's okay. Just, sometimes bitches get out of pocket, you know what I mean? And you got to take care of things because, when you have them trained, you think that, like, you forget because you have them trained so well, they're never out of pocket. You forget that once in a while it does happen. Everything's cool.
Peter, I don't worry about that ever.
No, and you shouldn't. You're a better man than me, Jeff Nadeau, and I'm a pretty good man. So that's a big compliment coming to you, Jeff Nadeau. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me pull up the comment section. Where are we right now? Okay, so we got about 1 minute to look at the comments, to shoot the shit, and then we'll get into it hardcore. Jeff Nadeau, let me see. Where are we pulling up here? Let me pulling up here. Yeah, I will say that this week there's a bunch of lines that I'm kind of like scratching my head on. It's not like other weeks where there's some very obvious plays that I was very clearly looking at. Hold on, let me just find the video. Here we go. Sorry, gotta mute that. All right, you want to just get? Let's see. Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry. Here we go. Stacks play of the day.
I was gonna do.
Go ahead.
A quick, reminder for everyone, or I guess announcement for everyone. We're moving the show time up 30 minutes next week, so we'll be on 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, whatever that is, West Coast. I don't do math, so just a reminder: we're moving the show up 30 minutes next week for all those watching right now.
I will tell you one thing to think about. I don't know if you remember last week, Jeff Nadeau. You remember I was mentioning this free play parlay I had on one of my accounts that I could use for a big parlay. It was a big amount, like a 15 teamer, only two legs lost. So I came pretty damn close, and I got the same thing going this week. So if you don't mind, maybe we can keep that in the back of our minds to help me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
See what we can do. There's plenty of opportunities this week.
Yeah, it's a free play at one of my accounts that I can use for a parlay. We'll see how long that account lasts, but we got it going again this week. So I'm very excited about that. Everyone help me with a parlay leg. Shout it out if you can. Let's look at the comments here. Let's quickly glance at it. Let me see. Whoops. All right. Well, I'm all discombobulated here now. I just
You're a mess.
Selected all the comments. I'm a mess. I was a mess. Yeah, it's all right. Let's get into the games. I just selected all the fucking comments. Jesus Christ. Now I have to unselect them. I don't even know how. All right. Let's get into it. All right. I didn't even pull up my fucking thing. All right. Here we go. All right. First game 1 on the card. Of course, Jeff Nadeau and I each take 5 games specifically, and then we get into the rest of the card. So far, we've managed to cover almost every game, every card this year. Oklahoma, Texas is the first game that Jeff Nadeau selected to talk about. 12 noon, obviously the Red River rivalry. Jesus Christ, I'm a fucking disaster right now. Let me hope the coffee will help. Texas is about a 6-point favorite. Total is about 60. Now, of course, Texas blew them out last year, but it was a horrible spot for Oklahoma. Shut them out 49-zip. Oklahoma, obviously, way better this year. They were supposed to be committed to defense this year, and so far that has worked. Now, how well will they be able to hold down Texas? I'm not exactly sure. When I saw these lines, and I bet the total a little bit. I didn't bet the side yet. I hit the under. I hit the under, Jeff Nadu, because I think it's going to be a grind. Oklahoma is way better defensively this year than they have been in years past. And I took a shot with the under. I think I like the first half under more. I haven't bet that one yet, but I just took a small shot with the under when I saw it. Not sure what the line movement would be. And I know a lot of people are really liking Texas in this spot. I think Oklahoma might be the play. Line hasn't really moved. It's now about 6 market wide. What do you think here? Oklahoma and or the under?
I think the major question is Oklahoma actually better on defense? Okay. Because when you look at the caliber of teams they've played, obviously we're stepping up considerably here and playing one of the best offenses in America. But I agree with you. I think Oklahoma's the play. I like Dylan Gabriel. I like that offense. And I'm not exactly sure. Look, I think when we look at Texas and what they've done, is what they've done that impressive? Is Alabama is beating them the way they did? Is that as impressive as we thought it was? I guess for them it was because it was finally time for them to go win a game, and they did. I just kind of looked at this and said, to me, this is like 34-31, 31-28, right, something like that. I just had a hard time feeling like this was higher than a touchdown. I like what Oklahoma has. I think they're the better offense here. And I'm going to finally believe in the fact that this is the year where that defense plays well and gets a stop when they need to. I don't really care about how it goes, whether it's high scoring or not. I just feel like 5's too many. I'm going to go with Oklahoma here.
Yeah, it's interesting that the line hasn't quite moved like you might have thought it would if Oklahoma had some clear value. If sharps were pounding Oklahoma, we would be seeing 3.5 right now. You know what I mean? And let me see what it is at. Well, it is. There it is, 4.5 now at Pinnacle. So that makes a lot of sense. I think Oklahoma is the side. I think I will take it even at 4.5. And I definitely bet the under, and I'm going to hit the first half under. That's probably a better bet, a lot better bet, actually. And I think we saw someone in the comments section saying, yeah, Andrew G likes the first half under. I agree. All right, Jeff Nadu. I like the. I agree with you. I'm going to take. I'm going to take Oklahoma, and I'm going to take the first half under. Add that one on. All right, Jeff Nadu. The first game.
Just one other thing. I wouldn't want to go much under 4. This number is starting to drop too. I mean, we're definitely losing the best of the number here. We were never going to get 7, but I think anything above, anything below 5, I'm not really looking to get involved with.
Right. Okay, the first game I want to talk about, LSU, Missouri. Of course, LSU lost at Ole Miss, that super high-scoring game as a road favorite. And Missouri, they pounded Vandy. They're 5-0 straight up now. Of course, this is a much tougher test. But when this line came out, it was one of those lines where I was like, I held my horses a little bit, surprised that Missouri was that big of a dog. Eventually I did bet them. It has gone down a bit. When I first saw it was 6.5. Now it's down to 5.5. Total's gotten bet up, which I understand, but I would be liking the under actually at 64. I think LSU is going to be, take a real take stock or whatever, look in the mirror, all that stuff, and then try to be much better defensively. And I think that they will be. But looking at all the, Missouri has a defense has been stopping the run. Secondary is a little bit average, but I'm not exactly seeing, and I'm sure there are reasons, but I'm not exactly seeing why Missouri should be this big of a dog. And I bet him, and I would still take him at the current line. What do you think, Jeff Nadu?
That was the same thing I said. I had this number like a flip. I didn't see where Missouri was 5-6 points different. Look, last night this number was 6. I think a lot of smart people are agreeing with us. Peter, LSU's defense is not just, I don't think it's a group that's just going to figure it out. This team is bottom 15 in America in passing yards allowed per game. They're just not very good. And I think this Missouri receiver core is one of the best in America. They're very good. Yeah. Brady Cook's been great. You mentioned it. They've been awesome against the run. And Peter, one thing that I'll say, this is one of the, I think, 6 teams in America, Missouri, that are 100%. When they get to the red zone, they score points. It's that simple. So they cash in. I like Mizzou. I like this offense. And I think they're just a better defense. It wouldn't surprise me if they won. I didn't see 5-6 points difference here.
Yeah, and LSU, it's not like, I mean, they got blown out by Florida State. All right, we can throw that out. All right, that's a nice bounce back win against Mississippi State. Sure, they got a bounce back win, but then they struggle against Arkansas as a home favorite. Yeah, I think it's a great bet. I have no idea why the line was what it was when it opened, but I bet it, and I still like it now. All right, Jeff Nadu, the second game you want to talk about, Toledo and UMass. Here we go, Toledo and UMass. Toledo barely won and lost ATS against Northern Illinois in their last game. I had Northern Illinois in that one. UMass got blasted by Arkansas State, and that was an interesting one because I liked UMass and I liked the over, but my biggest bet in that one was the UMass team total, which did wind up cashing, even though they got absolutely blown out. And I was totally wrong on my liking UMass, but obviously way right on the over. And now, my first question for this one before the line came out was, how big of a favorite will Toledo be? And this is a huge dog line here for UMass. And I like UMass here, and I did bet it at 19. Obviously, Toledo is a very talented team. Daquan Finn had some injury issues, not injury issues, but injury. He's had injury issues in his career, an injury scare a couple weeks ago. And if Toledo does get up big, I'm almost certain they'll pull him in a non-conference game like this, a non-conference road game like this. And UMass has some fight to them. That quarterback Pomachan is can get some points. He came back in their last game and they did lose, but he's the reason they did so well against New Mexico State. One of the reasons they did so well against New Mexico State in week 1. And once again, I think this is a great bet. This line I understood more than the Missouri line, but UMass got to be a nice play, right, Jeff?
Yeah, and I'm not going to play them, though. I'm just going to play the over.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this total was too low. I mean, Toledo, Peter, there's an analytical thing that the people put out. It's called the finishing drive metric. How many drives finish with a touchdown? Toledo's top of the heap. They are one of the best teams in America at finishing drives. I also look at this group. Defensively, I think they're good. I don't think they're great. They've had some issues at times, and you said it. Look, is UMass much better than they were last year? No, especially on defense. This team sucks on defense, but they are better offensively. This Fomanchik guy has been able to kind of move the ball a little bit. They have a decent passing offense. They're a group that I think can get 14, 17 points in this game. What do you think is going to be enough to put this game over? Toledo, I think, is going to run roughshod. They're going to run the football at a high level. I think they probably get into the 40s here. I had this at like 42-21. I think 55, 56 too low. I like the over.
Yeah, and this is another game where I'm just as a side note, I don't know if you follow the markets this closely, Jeff, but there's been like wrong sharp action on Toledo unders for like 2 years now or something. Yep. And I don't get it. Last year we saw that and I was like, what are they seeing? And the Toledo games would go over, and we're seeing the same damn thing here. Look at this total. It's 55.5. Jeff Nadu, what the fuck?
Peter, this is why I like you, because I've noticed that as well. There were games in the MAC last year where it would be like 58, and then by game time it'd be 52. And I'm thinking, what are they seeing here that I'm not? Toledo's one of the best offenses in America. And this UMass team is, look, again, they are improved on offense, but on defense, they're just not very good, right?
Yeah.
And look, the fact that they held like EMU in check doesn't mean much to me. We know EMU is one of the worst offenses in America. So, yeah, this is like a 42-21 game to me.
Yeah, I don't get it. It was 59 when I first saw it. Then it was 57. I was like, what the fuck? Now it's 55.5. I agree with you, Jeff Nadu, and I think once again I'm going to take the UMass team total over. So just in case they get blown out like 45-19 and they lose the spread, the team total might sneak over anyway. So I'm agreeing with you. I don't understand the line movement. I like UMass and definitely the UMass team total over as well, because that quarterback can put up some points. And if Toledo gets up big, then if it's a close game, it's because UMass is putting up points. And if it's if Toledo's blowing them out, they'll probably put in some reserves defensively, and you might get a back. Go ahead.
The turn here is if UMass just gets egged, like they don't score any, and it's 42-10. Like that's the issue. That's the concern. Toledo's going to score again. That's why, like, I don't. Maybe you just take Toledo's team total over. We know they're going to score.
Yeah. Well, the problem is just I'm not sure that they'll be like. I mean, if they get up big, they'll pull Daquan Finn and who knows who they'll put in. But yeah, I hear you. All right, let's see. We got comments here. Nutflush Allen says LSU, Pete, with Daniels at quarterback will not slow down. He played the same way in high school. It moves so fast. The defense gets right back on the field. Trap God says watching Mizzou play last week, they are really good. All right, yeah, interesting comment. Sorry, I forgot to fucking check all the comments. Sorry, guys, a little bit flustered. All right, let's move on. Jeff Nadeau. This is a game that I wasn't sure if I wanted to add on, but now I wanted to add it on. Western Michigan, Michigan State. Now, Western Michigan obviously is a decent MAC team. They rolled Ball State last week, but Mississippi State got beat down by Alabama, in their last game. They're not having a very good year. They've lost 3 in a row straight up. And the reports are that they want to get right and have a good game here. And I'm just thinking with Michigan State going on the road, of course, Western Michigan going on the road, of course, they'll be motivated to play an SEC team. But after the big win against Ball State, the big step up in class against an SEC team that's kind of pissed off, that's not overlooking them, I think that that Mississippi State, and maybe especially first half, maybe taking a little bit of insurance and buying down to -10 or something might be a good bet. I also like the under, and that has gotten bet down. It was 58.5 when I saw it, very early in the week. Now it's down to like 55.5 or 55, but I did bet that one. Liking Mississippi State and the under here, so I guess I would like the Western Michigan team total under as well. But what do you think? Is Western Michigan, a quality team that's going to come to play and give Mississippi State a big fight, or is Mississippi State pissed off at home and they're going to roll over a team that they outclassed?
Yeah, so this is interesting on both sides because we've talked pretty openly on this show about MAC teams stepping up and playing a Power 5 team. The talent level is so high as far as for the Power 5 team. And you look at Mississippi State, they should roll here, right? But I'm wondering, it's week 6. It's kind of a middle of the schedule in SEC. Why are we even playing this game? Who scheduled this game? What a wide and weird scheduling thing. But then you look at Western Michigan, you say, well, Mississippi State is not throwing the ball like they usually were back with Mike Leach and groups like that. I don't know. I could make a case for both sides, but in the end, this game's probably more 35-7 than it is, 28-17. So, yeah, I don't have much here. I always lean favorite in this game.
I mean, look, Iowa, who can't score on it. I mean, they're okay, but I mean, they only put up 41 on Western Michigan. Western Michigan, look at that. They got Syracuse 48-7, and now you got a Mississippi State team lost 3 in a row straight up. They should be motivated to have a good game here, even though they know that it's like it's not going to save their season necessarily, but it's at least for dignity purposes. Yeah, I'm liking Mississippi State first half full game and the under, and the Western Michigan team total under as well, although this has gotten bet way down. Yeah, wow, now the Western Michigan team total 16.5. I really want 17 there, but that's what I'm liking. Let me glance the comments section to see if anyone agrees with anything I've said. Shout out to Nutflush Allen. Thank you for being in the comment section. Let me see. Looking around. Okay, nothing on it. All right, yeah, that's what I'm liking here. All right, the next game you chose, Jeff Nadeau. Very interesting. Ball State and Eastern Michigan. Kind of a nondescript MAC game. These are the kinds of games that I like to bring up, and I get the response, Peter, I don't know why you're picking this game, but I trust your opinion on it. But here it is. You chose it as one of the 5 that you like. Eastern Michigan, they lost at Central Michigan, but they did cover. They're a pretty weak team, but they can hold their own against other crappy teams and probably do well. Ball State, again, beat down by Western Michigan. Not a very good team right now. And I was looking at this. I was thinking the obvious plays here, which I did bet. Eastern Michigan -2.5 and the under. The under has gotten bet down, and maybe the Ball State team total under as well. It's not a great play. I probably wouldn't take it at 3.5, but at 2.5, I'd be leaning Eastern Michigan, and I'd be leaning under. And even with the total lower than it was when it opened, I'd be leaning under as well. Is that what you like here, Jeff?
Yeah, look, I like the under in this game. These are 2 of the worst offenses in America.
Yeah.
They're both averaging around 12 points a game. They're just not very good. Now, I think there's a certain thing that I want to point out is that both these teams have played pretty good competition for the most part. But look, in the end, you got to be able to move the ball. And look, for what it's worth, I think EMU is a decent defensive team. I think they can kind of keep this game as well as they run very slow themselves. I think this is an ugly game. It's not a game you're going to want to watch. I'll also throw out, I've talked openly about the fact that EMU as a favorite is a disaster. They just are a disaster.
Yeah.
They never cover as a favorite. As a dog, they're very good, but look under their coach, Chris Creighton, they're a disaster as a favorite. I mean, just bad, quite honestly. Like Peter, I'm talking about like over the last 10 games, 2-7-1 is a favorite, 8-2 is an underdog against the number. So it's like really wild kind of combinations. But yeah, I like the under here. I think this is an ugly game. I had it at 43. I think this is like first or 20 wins. It's going to be an ugly one. It's hard to bet unders at this price in college football, but this is going to be a rough one, I think.
Primetime 99 says Toledo is his fake alma mater I put on resumes. I got to get one of those. Hell yeah. Daryl Turner's talking about Fresno State, but we will talk about that fucking game. We will talk about that motherfucking game. Not right now, but in about 10 minutes. All right. I agree with you on the under. I did bet it. And not huge, but standard size. All right, here we go. Jeff Nadeau. The next game I want to talk about, UTSA Temple. And we're not going to bring him in, but of course, Jose on the 1s and 2s. UTSA Homer follows them very, very closely. And Jeff Nadeau follows Temple very, very closely as well. I remember I asked you about
I don't know about that, Peter. I wouldn't say I followed Temple exactly that close anymore football-wise, but I could talk about this game.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I'm still thinking about back in the day where you couldn't help but be an expert on your local teams just because it was all around you in the paper. Yeah, I guess now. So Temple's a huge dog. And the total is a mid-range total around 55. UTSA off a bye and Temple's off a long week. Both these teams have been crappy ATS. I don't understand why Temple is this big of a dog, but I bet the under here. And, I think that it's just the offense is not here for either of these teams. And I took it. Even at 55, I would take it. And what do you think, Jeff Nadeau? Under 55 UTSA Temple?
Peter, UTSA season reminds me of, how like when you're drunk and you're drunk for like a while and you kind of get to the point where you're like, I don't want to be drunk anymore. And you're just like, I just want this to be over. That's kind of how UTSA season to me has been. It's been a disaster.
Right.
Nothing's worked. Their quarterback's been injured, but they had a bye week last week and they finally got to that point where they weren't drunk anymore. And now it's kind of looking at the future. We got a new week and saying, okay, I'm not drunk anymore. Let's get back to normal. UTSA got your quarterback back, Frank Harris. Defensively, they should run roughshod over Temple, quite frankly. But this is a weird kind of road game. It's rainy here. It's kind of a rough atmosphere. I don't know. It's hard with UTSA because I think they are way more talented than they've let on, but they just haven't had much kind of go their way in the first 6 weeks of the season. Lean Temple just because of that, but I don't have much on this game. It's a rough one to me.
Yeah, no, you're right that after the break and after the Tennessee beatdown, you're like, well, what is going to happen here? Are they going to come to play or whatever? And I think you're right. They're a big road favorite, and it is like kind of a rainy, hazy day. Not that the rain is going to impact passing, but that the overall feel is just going to have it be a little bit lethargic. Two teams that are just kind of, they're going to come to play, but that's a somewhat healthy total, 55. It could lose, but I bet it, and I still like it. And if it lost, loses, go ahead.
Yeah, Peter, one of the issues Temple University has is they are one of the top passing teams in America. They throw a ton. Like I'm talking about like 70% of the time. So they could run into some problems in this game because again, it's been raining. I don't know if it'll rain all day, but it's been raining. It's not exactly great weather, but maybe UTSA finally gets going with Frank Harris back offensively too.
Yeah, it could lose, but I took the under. All right, Jeff Nadeau, the next game you want to talk about, Kentucky, Georgia, 7 p.m. Kentucky, of course, pounded Florida. Now they're 5-0 straight up, 4-1 ATS. And Georgia, I've kind of been talking about that every show. I've been either picking or leaning against them. They're just a huge favorite, and I'm just not seeing that they're quite that good. I'm not making that up. You remember that I've been saying that in most of their games, and people are always kind of trying to time when Georgia's going to show up and be the real Georgia and blow someone out. And maybe this will happen here. They are at home. It's a relatively a low spread for a supposedly juggernaut team at home. But Kentucky, Kentucky can play. Kentucky can score. They got a great running game that can keep, should be able to keep them in this one. I guess I'd be leaning Kentucky because I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I'd be leaning Kentucky, but I don't want to pull the trigger on it because I'm still just a little bit nervous that Georgia's going to explode, open up a can of whoop ass on one of these teams one of these days. But more, I was liking the over, but this one also has gotten bet down. It was a low total, and then it was down to 47, and I did pull the trigger on it, even though the market went opposite the way I would be thinking. So I did bet the over on this one as far as the side is concerned. I haven't bet it yet. Why'd you pick this game, Jeff?
I think it's one of the most interesting numbers on the card because I think Georgia's fascinating. Look, do I think this is a vintage Georgia team? No, I don't. I don't think defensively they're as good. I know they're not as good. This team's struggling right now defensively. I don't love Carson Beck. He's average. I like some things that they do. But then I look at, and I love Kentucky, Peter. I had him last week. I love Kentucky.
Yeah.
There's no reason they shouldn't be in this game. Yet this total, this number is 14.5. Why? Why is this number 14.5? What has Georgia done to warrant being a 14.5 point favorite? And that's precisely why I will take them here, Peter. I don't want to do it. Something tells me, though, that I think just for the first time, we see vintage Georgia, where Kentucky really struggles to run the football. And let me point out last week against Auburn, okay, Georgia gave up seemingly a lot of rushing yards. But remember, there was one, I believe, 70-yard rush by Auburn's quarterback. I think that skewed the numbers a little bit more. I think this Georgia run defense gets going today. They shut down Ramon Davis. I think Kentucky's forced to throw the football, and that won't go real well. Something tells me Georgia opens it up, as you said, a can of whoop ass on Kentucky. You just have to look at numbers sometimes, Peter, and you've been doing this long enough to know, if this number were lower, maybe I'd understand. But the fact that it's 14.5 tells me this is 31-10.
31-10, really? So you wouldn't like the over? Because I'm thinking if they open up the whoop ass, it means that it probably goes over a very low total.
Well, I'm thinking if they open up a can, it's more or less they come on the defensive end. And just kind of shut down Kentucky. Because that's the one thing about Kentucky that you have to worry about. If they have to throw the football, I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I really do. Devin Leary's had issues. It's all going to come there,
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't bet the side. I did take a shot with the over, even though the line movement didn't make sense to me, made me nervous. But you're liking Georgia here, Jeff Nadeau. All right. The next game that I want to talk about. Here we go, baby. Everyone, get ready to give your opinions. Notre Dame, Louisville. Notre Dame beat Duke, of course, after the Ohio State loss. You could argue that they should have won that game. Louisville, 5-0 straight up, and. My question before the lines came out, I said, how big of a favorite will Notre Dame be here? I had it as low as with my question marks, 3.5. It opened at 7. I was like, maybe I'm wrong here, but I did hit Louisville. I can understand why, any team that holds Ohio State down like that is a friggin' impressive team. Obviously, the Notre Dame's, Sam Hartman is awesome, right? But I'm just not quite seeing the analytics indicate that these teams are relatively close. Louisville is maybe not a juggernaut, but very, very impressive overall. I don't think you could argue that they're not. Maybe Notre Dame blows them out. Maybe Notre Dame wins by 10. I bet Louisville here plus the points. What do you think, Jeff Nadeau?
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, we have Unibet. That's one of the books I can bet into. They have 7 on Louisville, and I agree with you. It's kind of similar to the Mizzou LSU game. Look, Notre Dame's a good football team. They are. Yeah. But are they 7-point road favorites?
Yeah.
I was a little surprised to see it that high. Look, Jeff Brom wins everywhere he goes. He's a great coach. Louisville, I feel like, has run roughshod. They're kind of a team that no one's talking about. Defensively, I think they're really solid. I think this is similar to the game against Duke. Now, obviously, Notre Dame found a way to win that game late and get to where they needed to be. But I think Louisville's legitimate. I really do. I like Plummer, the quarterback. I think it's probably a similar game to the Duke game. I just think Louisville finds a way to slide in and lose by 4 or something like that.
Nutflesh Allen says Notre Dame has some good pieces at wide receiver coming back today. Yes, I'm aware of that, which is true. Sox Nation says Notre Dame wins by 10+. Daryl Turner says Notre Dame money line, Louisville covers. Andrew D says Louisville nothing special. Are they special? I would agree. No. Should they be given 7? Should they be getting 7? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah. Once again,
I'm not really sure what. I'm not really sure what that person means by they're not that special. I mean, they've won every game. I mean, they've done everything they've needed to. They have a top 20 passing offense. They're at home. They're ranked. They have a great coach. To me, they're right there defensively with Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I just don't
I mean,
see 7%.
when they played decent competition, they won, but they didn't blow them out. They didn't cover. They lost ATS against Georgia Tech, ATS against Indiana, and pushed against NC State. So maybe when they step up in competition, they're not a good bet. I might have made a wrong bet. I didn't go nuts. It was a very average sized bet. But I took Louisville, and we'll see how it goes. And I understand that might have been, once again, not a smart thing to do. I'm certainly not going to use it in my parlay. All right, the next game you chose, Jeff Nadu, San Jose State, Boise State. Boise State, a decent-sized favorite. Now they have gotten bet higher. San Jose State off a bye, blasted by Air Force in their last game, which is, any game against a Service Academy team, good or bad, I'm willing to throw out. Boise pushed at Memphis, not a super impressive Boise team this year compared to what they have been in other years. There's another tough one. I was thinking probably with a free bet, I would bet on San Jose State to keep it close. And my first thought was the over at the opener of like 59 or so. But then I thought, no, maybe the under, and I did bet that one a little bit, and that has gotten bet down. So it's interesting that you chose this one. Why did you choose this one, Jeff?
Because I've been reading a lot out of Boise. For whatever reason, I've been weirdly into this team. Like, I don't want to admit that they're not good. And I think on offense, they are good. Like, I think offensively, they will move the ball. They get into the 30 seemingly every game. And I've noticed with San Jose, Peter, you mentioned the game against Air Force. They couldn't stop the run. They just got beat up. But this not stopping the run has been a major issue with this team. They've allowed 200-plus yards 3 or 4 times this year on the ground. They just can't stop the run. I mean, they're giving up almost 6 yards a carry. Boise's really leaned on the run this year. And what I found about that game against Memphis is Boise may have 2 really good quarterbacks in Taylon Green and Maddox. So I'm going to look at the team total over in this game. It seems like Boise feels like they're kind of ready for a breakthrough. They're at home in this game, coming off a game and kind of a stretch where they weren't great. They've got a couple of very winnable games coming up here. I think they kind of get off the schneid and take care of business today. I don't worry about spread or total. I want team total over on Boise, 34. Wow. I like the over 34. I think they score some points in this game. San Jose is pretty bad defensively.
That's an interesting lean there, Jeff Nadu. Yeah, I don't know. I did bet the under on that one. I will admit, and my lean would have been to San Jose State, but those were lukewarm leans. All right, let's move on. Here we go. The last game that we're going to look at in depth, and then we'll go to the rest of the card. Here we go. Fresno, Wyoming. Now, Wyoming was getting 6.5 or 7 early. I think it's gotten bet down. I'll check to where it is right now. The total has gotten bet down for sure. And obviously, Fresno, an extraordinarily impressive team. They're ranked. Wyoming's tough at home. They're coming off of a win. They got the win against Appalachian State, but they didn't cover. Wyoming, hard-nosed, not necessarily great talent, but hard-nosed. I know that sometimes they get advantages with the weather at home that they're not going to get here, but the elevation is still going to be a factor. A lot of people that I respect liking or loving Fresno State. I bet Wyoming. What can I tell you? I bet Wyoming. That might have been a mistake. I mean, it might be a game that is like close, most of the way, and then class shows late and Fresno pulls away. I don't know. This is another one of these friggin' games. I bet a lot of home dogs this week in this range, and this is yet another one that I bet. And when I bet it, I was like, this one might be a mistake, but I'm going to do it. I took Wyoming plus the points. A lot of people that I respect, including people in the comment section today, liking or loving Fresno. What's your take on this one, Jeff Nadu?
A football game is generally, Peter, 60 minutes long. 60.
Yes.
Last 120 minutes. Wyoming, Peter, guess how many points Wyoming has scored in the last 120 minutes against Fresno? Do you want to guess?
I'll guess 90.
No, you're not even close. 0. They have not scored.
No shit.
So, Peter, let me ask you, why on earth is this number only 6? I don't understand. I'm lost. I don't get it. I don't get what's going on here.
Because Wyoming is a tough, hard-nosed team at home, and you got a team that's now, ranked with a lot of hype around them going into Wyoming, and Wyoming's going to obviously battle fiercely and ferociously. I mean, they were a 2-touchdown underdog to Texas Tech, which was an impressive team, and they won that one. The Appalachian State, that was a tough situational spot for them, but Appalachian State still a quality team. They won that game outright. New Mexico, okay, they didn't cover, but they won it. It's a tough team. That's a tough team.
In a weird way, I'm trying to tell you I agree with you. I know it may not seem like it, but I agree with you.
Oh.
I think the number, it almost comes across too low. I feel like this number should be 10, not 6. 10 and a half, 12 even. Wyoming is the group that, as you said, not a real good offensive team, struggle at times to move the football. But again, it's one of those games where it's hard to go up there and play. They always seem like they're ready and prepared at home. This is kind of one of those sleepy spots, late night. Fresno's ranked. Maybe they take this game a little, kind of whatever. I'll also point out, fuck Fresno after last week. I had a late play on that game against the fucking Nevada Wolfpack. Did you see that game? 27-2 with a minute to go, and fucking Fresno lets up a late touchdown with 10 seconds left and fucks me. That game was rough. Either way, I agree with you here. It's not a game I'm going to bet, but I kind of agree. The number's too low for me. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, Fresno's an impressive team. I mean, obviously the Purdue win is popping out in people's minds, and then the Arizona State shutout. But Arizona State was in a bad way for that spot. I'm not saying Fresno's not good. I'm just not seeing the touchdown favorite line here for Fresno. But a lot of people I respect like in Fresno, and then even a bunch of other people who I don't respect also like in Fresno. So a lot of people really like in Fresno. Here's one guy I really respect. Oh shit. Nutflesh Allen, love, all in caps, your bet on Wyoming plus the points. Nice. Yeah. Nathan Sema says Fresno State, just a better team, should wear the Cowboys down. Yeah, and on a neutral site, of course, that's what I would expect. Rance likes Fresno State today. I can understand why people are liking or loving Fresno, but I'm going to roll with my Dan Kelly says maybe a big revenge spot for Wyoming. Yeah. And even without revenge, it's just they're a tough, gritty team at home with a ranked, in-conference opponent coming into their house.
Wait, hold on
a
second. Somebody said this isn't a neutral site game, is it? Who said that?
Fresno, Wyoming?
Yeah, someone.
I thought it was.
No,
Wyoming's at home.
Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that does it. That does it for the specific games that we wanted to talk about. Now let's just get to catch all for the rest of the card. Any opinions you want to give, put them in the comments section. Any games you have no opinion on and you want us to discuss, let us know. We will get into it. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I guess we can start with let's start with Virginia Tech, Florida State. I was thinking maybe Virginia Tech getting a few too many points here, leaning Virginia Tech. Plus 24, leaning the under, which has gotten bet down. What do you think? You think Virginia Tech is getting too many points here?
Probably. I mean, last time we saw Florida State as a big favorite. What happened? I mean, they almost lost the game to DC. You have to wonder. I mean, are they just going to kind of go through the motions at some point again? I mean, again, they'll win here. It's a question of, are they engaged and want to win by margin? I'm not really ready to test it. Vatek's pretty bad. I mean, this is not a vintage Vatek team. Not one that I really ran at. I will say, speaking of Virginia, William and Mary, Peter, is an FCS team. They are a 7-point dog against Virginia, who is 0-5 this season. Virginia has been one of the worst teams in the country, quite honestly, especially in the Power 5. I've noticed these games over the years. William and Mary is one of the better FCS teams. I mean, they could really give Virginia a run for their money today. Watch that as an upset alert. Virginia is bad. I mean, at every level, Peter.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, I was thinking maybe that they might have some value. Here we go. Someone's asking about the Arkansas State-Troy game. I did bet that one. I almost made that one of the 5 I wanted to talk about. I don't know how much you looked into this, Jeff Nadeau, but Craig Wood saying, has the line to move too much in Troy, Arkansas State? True freshman quarterback playing against the Troy defense. That is true. But that true freshman quarterback has done great so far. Now he is coming off of a 50-point, effort, a big win against UMass. The quarterback's playing great, but now he's going up on the road against Troy, where the defense for Troy is obviously a lot different a lot better than what UMass brings to the table. Still, I was kind of shocked that Arkansas State was as big of a dog, like 17 points, as where they opened. And I was also thinking that maybe the total was surprisingly low, and that I would like the under. But it's since gotten bet down. The Arkansas State line has gotten bet a little bit down from 17. Now it's like 15.5 or 15. So I don't really know what to make of this one. My initial leans were Arkansas State and the over, and I did bet both of them. Those might be losing bets, though. You have anything on this one, Jeff?
Yeah, I didn't understand this total. I mean, has anyone watched Arkansas State defensively this year? I mean, they can't stop anybody. Troy throws the ball at a pretty high level. I didn't really understand this. I guess the thought is that Arkansas State won't do anything offensively. But yeah, I thought this number was strikingly low. There's been a couple of those types of totals this year that I haven't really understood. I feel like you just go with what you know, and Arkansas State can't stop anybody.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see. Let's see. Okay. Dan Kelly, here we go. You guys didn't talk BC Army, but it's going to be raining hard for the entire game, and you gotta love Army, no. Wow, no question mark. What do you think? You think Army is a great bet? Last I saw, BC has gotten bet down to it's now coming back a little bit for Army, but this one was over 3, and then it got bet down to 2.5. Maybe Dan Kelly's right here. Is Army a great bet against Boston College?
I'm not sure they are. Then again, when it comes to the Army, I think you always kind of just go with your gut. I mean, Virginia, I thought gave BC a good game. This is not a good BC team. The one thing they do pretty well is stop the run. Okay, they've only given up about 3.5 yards a carry. But here's the issue. Just because you can stop the run does not mean you will stop the Army rushing attack.
Right.
It's all about gaps and being in the right spots. It's just a hard thing to prepare for. You generally want to be off a bye in the middle of the season when you're playing a triple option team. I kind of agree in a way with Dan Kelly. I still think anything under 3, I'm going to lean on Army, especially at home. I don't think this is a vintage Army team, but they still are quite good. I like their quarterback, Daly, I believe his name is. And I like Monken teams. They're well coached. They don't commit a lot of penalties. I lean that way. I will just say, I think the rain kind of aspect, you want to make sure you look specifically. I know it's supposed to clear up on the East Coast, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I like Army a bit here. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a pretty good read on BC this year. I had them against Florida State, and then I faded them big against Louisville. This does seem, I mean, Army, Boston College not off a bye. Army is off a bye, and they're coming off of a loss at Syracuse, a beatdown. So, they're going to, lick their wounds and get healed up and now come home. And, but a big move, 4.5 to 2.5. It's coming back a little bit the other way. Man, that might be a fucking sharp play there. Army right now at -2.5. Thank you so much, Dan Kelly, for posting that. Thank you so much, Dan Kelly, for posting that. Army, that might be a great play. All right, let's see what else. Nutflush Allen says if Wells is at quarterback, Florida smash spot. Florida, of course, playing Vanderbilt, who's been absolutely awful, ATS, and now I believe that's now down to 17. I believe that. Let me see. Let me see where the line is. I was thinking
finally put the numbers where they could be for Vandy. Peter, they're starting to kind of realize this team isn't good, right?
Yeah.
They should be 17, 18-point dogs against the high-level SEC team. I don't know if Florida's a high-level SEC team, but you have to figure they'd be a little pissed off. They weren't very good last week, really struggled to stop the run. Vandy's just not good.
No, we're talking about Florida State. Sorry. Right. He was. I got confused. He put Florida. He was talking about Florida State. Sorry about that.
Big difference.
Yeah. But let's talk about the Florida game anyway. I was thinking about that the over might be worth a shot because the Vandy quarterback, is good enough to put up some points. I think they're going to get blown out, but they'll probably get blown out, but be able to put up a few points. And but the total's gotten bet down. People I really respect liking or loving the under. So like 53.5, 54. Now it's down to 51. Yeah, I don't know. You think that Vandy gets blown out again and loses again? ATS.
I would think they would, but I think for you kind of have the right, thought here. Florida can be scored on. We saw that. We know they can't stop the run much. And you're right. Swan, I believe, is the quarterback down there at Vandy. I think he's okay. I don't really want to test on whether Vandy can sneak within the number. I know Florida will likely score in this game. You kind of hope it's like last season. Vandy won the game last year, 31-24. I think that's kind of your hope this year. But yeah, I don't want to believe in Vandy. Do I think he can score? Yeah, I think the over is probably the play.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people are loving the under so much. People that I respect. All right, lots of other things that we can talk about. I don't know. Big move in favor of Central Florida. Of course, Kansas is having quarterback issues. Do you think that's tailable right now? Jump on Central Florida. If you got nothing on it, let's move on. But what do you think?
I'll just
Bet
point
Florida
out
now?
just because
Go ahead.
Daniels is out for Kansas doesn't mean that much.
Sure.
Bean, the backup, has played a lot. He is perfectly capable. I think the over's the play there. That kind of is moving up. UCF games have been very high scoring. Kansas, we know they struggled last week, but they should be able to move the ball in this game. Don't think just because Bean's out there going to get destroyed. He can move the ball.
Yeah, let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Colorado, Arizona State, if you want to touch on that quick. Line's gotten bet in Arizona State's favor. They're now just a 3.5-point dog. I hit the under. I think this is going to be, I don't think Colorado's going to come here and try to run up the score. I think Arizona State's going to play them kind of tight. And I actually bet the under, even though Colorado has had some games in the stratosphere. At 58.5, I take the under as well. Even now, what do you think about that one?
Keep in mind, the persistent problems continue for Colorado on the offensive line. Did you hear that thing that has come out that the quarterback at Colorado, Sanders, is being sacked on purpose so he doesn't screw with his completion percentage? Have you seen
No,
that?
I didn't hear that. Wait, what? Go ahead.
Some anonymous Pac-12 coach says that he believes Shedeur Sanders is being sacked and not throwing the ball to screw with his completion percentage. Like, he believes that he just falls down and gets sacked on purpose. To not mess with his number. Weird for sure. That said, I mean, Peter, let me ask you, do you have any comfortability with laying over a field goal with Colorado on the road with that defense, with that offensive line, and the numbers dropping? I'm not interested.
I would take Arizona State if I had a free bet, but I didn't. But I didn't bet it. Here's one, Jeff. We didn't talk about it, but this might be a big man on campus / Loshak special, and I did bet this one. Texas Tech Baylor over. I hit the over when it opened at like 57. It's gotten bet up at 60. I'd still hit it. Two teams that can move the ball. They're going to move the ball. Who's going to win? I don't know. Competitive game over. Texas Tech Baylor. What do you think?
You read my mind, Peter. I agree. Yeah. Blake Shapen's back for Baylor. A little bit of that was a nice win last week against Central Florida. Maybe they have a little bit of something. One thing we do know is Baylor can't stop anybody. Texas Tech looks like that vintage Tech football team, pretty good offensively, can't stop anybody. That game last week, I think it was like very high scoring by halftime even. Yeah, I like this one too. Agreed.
All right, very quickly, Michigan, Minnesota. I don't know. Maybe once again, Michigan, a big favorite, low total. So far this year, they've been winning, but not covering. The game's been going under. Now they're on the road against Minnesota, but is that defense for real? Maybe Minnesota team total under. If you get 14, great. 13.5, maybe take it anyway. What do you think?
The problem that you have with Michigan is this year it's hard for them to cover big numbers because they play very slow. They're not up-tempo, going quick. They don't throw the ball that much. Minnesota's been disappointing. I thought they'd be a little bit better this season. They've been a mess defensively, which isn't normal from Fleck. I kind of squared on this game and thought maybe for whatever reason, I feel like Minnesota can hang here. I didn't think Nebraska could hang. I think Minnesota could maybe hang here. They have decent quarterback play, but I don't really know how to figure Michigan. I just don't. They're great on defense. They don't really go very fast on offense. I have a hard time figuring their games out.
I hear you. All right, let's see. People are asking about. Wait. What did you ask about? The Texas. Texas State, Louisiana. That's an interesting one. Obviously, I thought that it might be closer to Pick'em when, or I actually thought Texas State might even be a small favorite before the line came out, and the line has actually moved in Louisiana's favor. So I think that might be tailable. I don't know. I think I'm going to stay off that game. I know some people who I really respect on the over and on the under. Interesting game. I think I'm just going to stay off. What do you got? Anything on that one?
Yeah, I mean, this Louisiana team is not good on defense. They're giving up about 33 points a game. I've had some success with Texas State. I think in the end, they're just a lot of the time the better team in this conference. I think they definitely had the better quarterback here. And kind of, are they a dog at this point or no? Texas State.
Yeah, I mean, I think it opened as a tiny dog. I think. Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, they're okay at plus 2.5. Wow. A lot of market likes Louisiana here. I'm not sure I see it. Yeah, I like Texas State. I think that's one of the best offenses no one talks about. I feel like if you like Texas State, you take the over. If you like Louisiana, I think you have to lean under. But this is one of the highest totals on the board. This seems like first to 40 wins, doesn't it, Peter?
Yeah, no, actually, you're right. Texas State. I thought Texas State would be a small favorite, and actually, at some places they did open as a small favorite. I'm seeing now. Yeah,
That's what I
I
thought,
think.
too.
Yeah, I think you might. I think that maybe Texas State is the play. I might pull the trigger on that. Let me see. Sanderson P saying anyone like LSU, and someone also asking if we covered that. Yes, I took Missouri, but Nutflush Allen says be careful. I think Nutflush Allen might be liking LSU. And then he asked, North Ender asked the UCLA game against Washington State. No, we didn't talk about that. I personally am going to stay off of that one. I really don't know what to make of it. I'm going to pass. You have anything on that one?
No, I can't say I do. I'll tell you one game that I have an interest in. I'm curious what you think on Maryland and Ohio State.
Yeah, I guess I'd be leaning over, but what do you like here?
That's where I'm going. I don't know that I believe that Maryland can hang and cover, but there are two entities that I don't trust. I don't trust Maryland's defense at all. I think they'll get beat up because Ohio State's nasty offensively. But I wonder about Ohio State's secondary a little bit. I saw Austin Reed, the quarterback of West Kentucky, move the football a little bit. In fact, I took the over. One thing to keep in mind as well, the reason Taulia Tagovailoa is so good and can move the ball, they have the lowest sack percentage in America. Their offensive line has been very good. They protect him. They keep him clean, and he can move the ball. And why I bring that up is West Kentucky, same type of team, good offensive line. They can contribute to this total. I like the over as well in this game. This is kind of a sneaky good over.
And weird movement. Opened around 55 and a half, got bet up to 57. I was like, yeah, the over. Now it's back down to 55 and a half, Jeff Nadu. That ain't a mistake. That's interesting Peter, there. Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I think you and I have spotted this. When it comes to totals, I don't give a fuck about movement anymore. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean.
Because I've seen it for years.
Yeah.
These analytic people, they thought that the numbers are going to be lower because of this clock stoppage crap. It hasn't really.
Nerds. Dorks. Yeah, I hear you. Dan Kelly says he's looking at the radar. It's going to be pouring hard the entire game at West Point. A sloppy running football game in the rain can be a lot of fun to watch. Hell yeah. Kinky as hell, Dan Kelly. It's kinky as fuck.
I trust him.
I'm going to bet that. I'm going to bet Army. Go ahead.
Yeah, so am I. I'm going to bet them as well. And I trust him in a way because I know that Dan Kelly's likely on AccuWeather looking at the radar and seeing a big swath of green and saying, we got consistent rain here today. I'm in with Dan Kelly. I'm going to bet them as well.
Yeah. Sanderson P says, anyone on the Red River Showdown? Yeah, Jeff and I both said we liked at the line Oklahoma getting points, and I said I liked the under and probably a bit more the first half under. Craig Wood says, only fans for college football fans. Ooh, kinky. All right, let's see what else we got here, Jeff Nadu.
We should do that, or?
we don't have. Yeah, we don't. I don't usually have time for jokes, but if a joke will take literally 1.5 seconds, I'll slip it in. Jeff Nadu. Let's see. Big move in the Colorado State Utah State game. Now, Colorado State, we've talked about them. We like the coach. He gets a lot out of his programs. Going on the road now against Utah State, they can be a tough bet to fade at home, but they're not that good of a Utah State team this year. Big line move in Colorado State's favor. I don't know. Is that bettable?
Yeah, I think when we look at Colorado State, I think against these types of teams, like the middling to bad Mountain West teams, I think they're very backable. Like against the top level, like, stepping out of conference, Colorado, Washington State, they're going to get beat up. But you look at the last two games. I mean, ran roughshod over Middle Tennessee, beat Utah Tech. What the hell is Utah Tech, by the way? I believe that was the former Dixie State University. They changed the name, Peter. You can't have Dixie State as a team anymore. Utah State stinks. I kind of like Colorado State. They kind of run roughshod over these types of teams.
And here you go. Noli knows. We're going to take 5 seconds out to clap for him being in the comment section, giving us opinions. Oklahoma, Texas, under. I agree with that. I bet it myself. I haven't bet the first half under, but I think I like that even more. I'm going to bet that one as well. I'm going to double up. Nolino's like it. You remember the Stanford game where Nolino said he liked the under on that one? And I was like, I was already leaning that way, and I already bet it. Then when I saw he liked it, bam, bet it twice as big and put it in a free play parlay. Shout out to Nolino's. Thank you so much for being in the comments section. Oklahoma, Texas, I think that might be a good play there. All right, let's look around at there's so many other games on the card that I don't know.
About one.
Go ahead.
Bama, Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, I can't believe we didn't touch that. I don't know, man. I think that I've had a pretty good read on Alabama covering or not covering so far this year. This one, I mean, Texas A&M as a dog would be the play if they were getting like 6, but at 2.5 at some point, I mean, Alabama doesn't even have to roll to get a cover here. I'd probably take Alabama. I don't know. I'm going to pass. I haven't bet it, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually lean the other way. Something just tells me freshman quarterback, not as good a defense this year for Alabama, though I have heard former Alabama players say they have heard kind of the Alabama world that defense feels like they're starting to really find themselves. I kind of like the under here, Peter, a little bit. Something tells me this is an old school SEC kind of back and forth 20-17 type of game. Both teams kind of like to run the football. Quarterback play isn't great. I just don't trust Bama's quarterback. And you look at Texas A&M, they have quarterback issues with a backup coming in. Kyle Field, I believe they play it. That's a tough atmosphere. 20-17, I think. I lean under. I like the under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the line has gotten bet down from like 50, which initially was especially low. Now it's down to 45. Very interesting. Trap God says A&M outright. I would not disagree with that, but you're not getting a great line now on the A&M money line. All right, let's very, very quickly. I don't know. What do you think? Where is it? Arkansas, Ole Miss. Arkansas getting 13. Is Ole Miss really 13 points better at home than Arkansas in this spot? I think it might be worth a shot. Maybe taking a shot with Arkansas to surprise here.
Yeah, they didn't show me that they were very good defensively last week. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know where that numbers come from either. I mean, Arkansas's kind of fell by the wayside. They still have KJ Jefferson. I don't know what's going to happen as to they're almost being graded like they're like Vandy or something. What's going on here? What have I missed?
I mean, if Vandy went on the road at LSU, they wouldn't come within 3 points. I can tell you that. And if they were at home, a neutral site against Texas A&M, I don't know if they'd come within 12. I mean, I kind of like. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, not to. Just to put this out there. I mean, I thought Arkansas probably should have beat LSU, and they were in the game per se against A&M. Lost by 12, came within the number. This almost strikes me as one of those Kentucky-Georgia games where we kind of want to just grab a dog and just assume, well, this is these are two teams that are probably 4 or 5 points, not 13. And then, Ole Miss will roll and score 50 here, 51-30 or something.
Well, I did bet Arkansas, but the line has not moved like I would have liked to have seen it move to tell me that I'm on the right side. So I might be on the wrong side there, but I did take a shot with Arkansas. Let me see what else. Line moving in North Carolina's favor. What do you think about that? North Carolina might roll here. What do you think?
Yeah, I was talking about this game to someone last night. We were chatting about this one. North Carolina's quietly been very good. Syracuse kind of got their teeth caved in against Clemson, but I still think they're quite good too. This seemed a bit high to me. Anything over a touchdown, I kind of leaned with Q's. I want to bring up something from a chat guy here. Joe Walsh says, anything on UAB South Florida? This is a high total. UAB is throwing the ball a lot. Their coach is Trent Dilfer. This is one of the worst pass defenses in America. So is South Florida. Both these teams can't stop anybody on defense. I feel like there's a lot of throwing the football in this game. Something tells me this is a higher scoring game.
Yeah.
You look at this one?
I did. I took the over, and last week I told you I had in that big parlay 2 losses. South Florida was one of them. I took Navy in that was the one of the losers in that leg. And South Florida, obviously, it's a little bit of a suspiciously low line here for South Florida. And I did bet the over a little bit. I think it's gotten bet up. I forgot what line. I think I got a little bit of a better line. I did make a small bet on the over in this one for sure.
Yeah, it seems like one of those kind of weird. Yeah, back and forth games. Yeah.
We didn't talk about Purdue, Iowa. If you want to talk about that for a second, I don't know if you want to mention it. I would lean Purdue.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of the Big Ten, Illinois is dog shit, by the
Awful.
way.
Yes, and I have been betting into that all year long. Yes.
Yeah.
Either with team total unders for them or with the opposing teams to cover. All right, Jeff Nadu. We usually go over our 2 or 3 best bets on the card. Usually, I have a few that I'm like happy to mention and talk about. I don't know right now. I have a lot of bets that I have overall. I kind of like my card, but if I had to identify 2 or 3, I don't know if I'd be able to do that easily. I might throw on Army just because of Dan Kelly's great breakdown and points about that game. -2.5 is one of them. Missouri, I don't know, man. But I think that, or I throw on Wyoming. What do you think, Jeff Nadu? What are your top plays on the card?
Yeah, I definitely like Toledo UMass. I think that game is. I think Toledo moves the ball. I think UMass can kind of put up a decent fight and get into the 20s maybe. I also do want to point out, I think Boise's offense is going to find themselves. I think that offense has not been the issue. It's their defense. They're not a good defense. And I think Cordero could move the ball, but I'm going to worry about Boise's offense. That is a bad run defense for San Jose. I think they get 35 and cover that one. I also will agree. I do like Army. I think it's really kind of opened up my eyes a little bit. Do I think Boise or Boston College can stop the run? No, I don't. In this kind of game, it's going to be hard to do. Off a bye for Army. Very good call by Dan Kelly.
Mm-hmm. All right, I can have 3 that I'll name. I will name Texas Tech, Baylor over, even at the current line of 60. In Oklahoma, Texas, I'll say first half under instead of full game under, but I like the full game under as well, and that is not a just copying Noli Knows because as we in the beginning of the show, I said I liked it, but then when Noli Knows says he likes it, that 100% locks it in as a top play for me. And then I'll throw on UMass team total over at just 17.5, whether it's a high scoring game or a low scoring game, and they're in it. UMass team total over 17.5, first half under in Oklahoma, Texas. And what was the other one I said? Oh yeah, and over in Texas Tech, Baylor. Those are 3 plays. I think at least 2 of those cash. Jeff Nadu?
I will say one other thing, Peter. I know this is a football show. I kind of stopped betting baseball after a certain time, but I have a feeling on something today. There's one thing I don't want to do, and look, I know I live in the Philadelphia area, but I don't have rose-colored goggles. I like the Atlanta Braves today on the run line to beat the Phillies. Ranger Suarez is not good. He's a lefty. Atlanta crushed lefties. I like Spencer Strider a lot. Something just tells me the Phillies struggle today. I think they get beat up in this game. I like the Braves -1.5 in this game.
And here we go. Woo Rizza. Woo Rizza says Maryland, 2 pug of a dog, Ohio State team total over.
Oh,
I agree with that. Go ahead. I was going to say,
I like the over in that game.
Yeah, and it's weird that the line movement has gone back down, but I kind of like the Ohio State, even at the -20, although I wouldn't bet it. But yeah, I think I will bet the Ohio State team total over. I agree with Woo Rizza's take right there. Okay, I think that's it. Do we got it? Do we get the show done, Jeff Nadu?
I think we're good to go.
All right, I'm gonna try to find 15 sides to put in a massive parlay and get a big cash this week. That's what I'm gonna do for the next hour. Thank you so much to Jeff Nadu. Thank you so much to Noli Knows, Nutflush Al, and Dan Kelly. Everyone in the comment section. We'll be back next week at 10:30 Eastern Time, not 10 Eastern Time, 10:30 Eastern Time. Thank you so much, everyone. Tune in next week. See you next week.